Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex sources, dig in deep, and pull out the key insights just for you. Today, we're heading back, way back, looking into ancient Buddhist monastic rules, specifically the ones for nuns, the bhikkhunīs. Yeah, our main text is the Pācittiya section of the Bhikkhunī Vibhaṅga. It's basically a rule book, a collection of disciplinary regulations for the female monastic community. And our mission today, to see what surprising things we can learn from these rules, understand the real-world challenges, social, practical, ethical, these communities faced, and these are revealed through the actual incidents that led to the rules being made.
Right. And it's so important to remember these weren't just, rules handed down from on high. Each one popped up because something actually happened. They show this ongoing effort to keep things harmonious, protect the Sangha's reputation, and make sure everyone, monks and nuns, were conducting themselves properly, especially with the lay people who supported them. It's like seeing a system adapt in real time.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, some rules about just moving around, basic interactions within the community and with the monks. Pācittiya 51. This one started because some bhikkhunīs went into a monastery in Ārāma without asking first. Turns out monks were inside doing robe work and, well, they weren't pleased.
Exactly. And the fascinating part is how the rule changed over time. It wasn't static. At first, it was just sort of a general don't enter without permission. But then there was this other incident. Nuns thought the monks were out, went in, didn't upkeep the place properly. So the rule got tweaked. You needed permission from a monk who was actually there. Then it got even more specific. A bhikkhuni commits an offense if she knowingly walks into an occupied monastery without asking a monk or a novice or even a monastery attendant. It really shows them grappling with the practicalities of shared spaces, meeting clear boundaries. It's law responding to life.
That step-by-step refinement makes so much sense, doesn't it? Like figuring things out as they went. Okay, building on that, let's look at rules for communal living, especially during the rainy season retreat. That was a big deal. So Pācittiya 56. Here, bhikkhunīs did their retreat, but in a place where there were no monks. And the key problem, they didn't get any instruction.
And that's significant. It really points to the structure back then. A bhikkhuni doing the retreat without monks present. That's a Pācittiya offense because fundamentally it cut them off from essential instruction or communion.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about having monks nearby. It highlights this structured reliance on the Bhikkhu Sangha for guidance, for their spiritual development. Shows a clear hierarchy.
Right, so it wasn't just during the retreat, but also wrapping it up properly. Accountability. Which brings us to Pācittiya 57. This time some bhikkhunīs finished their retreat, but forgot or neglected to invite censure pavana from both communities, monks and nuns. And this censure was based on anything seen, heard, or suspected about their conduct during the retreat.
And failing to do that. Yeah, another Pācittiya offense. If you connect the dots, this whole Pavarana practice, it just underlines how incredibly important communal accountability and transparency were for both communities. It wasn't just about your own behavior, but the integrity of the whole Sangha, open self-correction, being accountable to your peers, collective responsibility, really.
That idea definitely seems to carry through to the more regular rhythm of monastic life, too. We see that clearly with Pācittiya 58 and 59. Pācittiya 58 features the Chabagi bhikkhunīs. They pop up quite a bit, often causing a stir. In this story, they refuse to go for instruction, basically saying, hey, the monks can come to us. And then Pācittiya 59 deals with bhikkhunīs not asking about the Uposatha day, the observance day, or not seeking instruction every half month.
You're spot on. These two really hammer home how vital that regular guidance was. Not going for instruction or communion, that's Pācittiya 58, and not asking about the Uposatha or instruction every fortnight, Pācittiya 59, both were seen as serious lapses. It makes you think, doesn't it? How absolutely essential was this regular contact, this participation for the spiritual well-being and just the basic order of the bhikkhuni community? These rules suggest it was fundamental.
Okay, so we've got internal rules, communal structure, but a huge part of this was also about how the Sangha looked to the outside world, especially the lay patrons. And this is where things get, well, pretty dramatic. Let's unpack Pācittiya 52. This arose because, again, the Chabagya bhikkhunīs, they got furious when a monk, Venerable Kapitaka, destroyed a stupa they'd built for their deceased elder. Furious is maybe an understatement. They actually plotted to kill him. But another monk, Upali, warned Kapitaka, and when the nuns found out Upali had spilled the beans, they just laid into him verbally, completely abused him.
It's quite something, isn't it? Not just the abuse itself, but the sheer intensity of the anger, the plotting, even within a spiritual community. The rule is clear. A bhikkhuni who reviles or insults a monk commits a Pācittiya offense. But this rule, born from such extreme circumstances, it really tells you something. It shows that even these figures weren't immune to powerful, very human emotions. And the Sangha needed these explicit rules to manage that potential chaos, to protect its image. It's a stark reminder.
It definitely adds a layer of raw humanity. And that concern for how things look wasn't just about major conflicts. It extended to everyday things, like food. Take Pācittiya 54. A Brahmin invites some bhikkhunīs for a meal. They eat, they're dismissed, but then some of them go off to visit relatives and eat again or take more food. The Brahmin hears about it and complains. He felt like, wait, were they still hungry? Did I not provide enough? He was worried about his own generosity.
And this story just perfectly illustrates that delicate balance they had to maintain. Avoiding any hint of greed or seeming ungrateful, anything that could possibly undermine that crucial lay support. So the rule, a bhikkhunī, invited and dismissed, who then eats or consumes food or edibles again, commits a Pācittiya. It wasn't just about eating twice, it was about the perception. Maintaining trust, showing contentment, it was critical for the community's standing.
Perception really was key, wasn't it? Especially when relying on goodwill. And there's a related rule, Pācittiya 55, also about support. This time, a bhikkhunī gets fed by a family. But then she actively discourages other bhikkhunīs from going to that same generous family. She gives fake reasons like, oh, they have fierce dogs, or it's too muddy over there. Eventually, the family hears about this and complains the nun was being stingy, not with things, but with her good word, essentially.
Right. And this rule is such a powerful reminder of how vital that relationship with patrons was. Reciprocal. A bhikkhunī who is stingy with families, meaning she speaks badly of a family to other nuns, or speaks badly of nuns to a family that's a Pācittiya. It's not about hoarding material goods, but hoarding goodwill, you could say. It shows how one person's actions, their attitude, could really affect the whole community's support system and reputation. It underlines that collective responsibility again.
Let's shift gears slightly now to rules focused more on personal conduct within the community, safety, and handling disputes. Pācittiya 53 gives us another interesting story. It involves a nun named Kantekli, known for being very argumentative. Another nun, Thulananda, initially sort of shielded her from disciplinary action. But when Kantekli was finally suspended, Kalananda returned, found out, got angry, and just reviled the community, called the whole Bhikkhunī Sangha foolish, ignorant.
And the rule here is, a bhikkhunī who angrily reviles the community commits a Pācittiya offense. This case really highlights how important internal harmony was, but also, crucially, respect for the established disciplinary process. Even if you disagreed, publicly tearing down the collective decision-making body, that was seen as deeply damaging to the community's cohesion. It really stresses respecting communal authority, even when you feel strongly otherwise.
Okay, and finally, let's look at a rule with very direct, very serious safety implications. It's quite striking. Pācittiya 60. This describes a really concerning incident. The bhikkhunī had a sore, the text says on her pasaka, her lower abdomen, and she allowed a man to treat this sore, alone, just the two of them. Tragically, the man then tried to assault her.
Yes, this rule is profoundly practical. It's directly about the safety, the vulnerability of the bhikkhunīs. The rule states, a bhikkhunī who allows a human man, intelligent and capable of misbehaving, to treat a sore or wound on her lower abdomen alone, without informing the Sangha, or at least a group of other bhikkhunīs, commits a Pācittiya offense. So what does this tell us? It's not just about medicine. It's the stark recognition of potential danger and the absolute necessity of having a witness, of having community awareness for potentially vulnerable situations. It shows a deep, pragmatic concern for protecting the nuns. So when you look back at all these Pācittiya rules, these specific stories behind them, they really paint this incredibly vivid, detailed picture. You see the constant challenges, the complexities of monastic life for these women. You see the ongoing effort to keep peace internally, to maintain a good reputation outwardly, to ensure everyone felt safe, and to stick to the spiritual and social structures they'd established. Each rule is like a little window into their world.
It really is incredible. They're so specific to that time and place, yet they reveal these universal truths about living in community, don't they? The need for respect, for authority, for each other, the importance of transparency, how delicate perception can be, how one person's actions reflect on everyone. And yeah, the fundamental need for safety protocols. It's not just a deep dive into ancient Buddhism. It feels like a deep dive into building and holding together any community. So thinking about all this, how do these ancient rules born from such specific, sometimes dramatic events for bhikkhunīs thousands of years ago, how do they echo, if at all, in our own lives? What does it make you think about community living today, about personal boundaries, about how our individual choices impact the groups we belong to? Something to ponder, perhaps?